Hello, hello. Heather Jean here with another episode of Confidence with Coffee. I am without coffee today because I'm recording this in the evening and it's a little late for me to be having coffee, but I have had plenty of coffee through the day. I hope you're having a great day and having your cup of coffee right now, or whatever it is that you prefer to refresh yourself with. So this is Confidence Through Cabaret, and this segment is all kind of like a key takeaways from our latest podcast or vodcast episodes. So if you like podcasts in audio form, check out Confidence Through Cabaret on any of your podcast platforms. If you want to watch the video version, check out the vodcast playlist on the Confidence Through Cabaret YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe while you're here. But in this segment, this is kind of an opportunity to, really kind of pull out the key takeaways and add anything that I wanted to add, or really kind of, spend some time in reflection. And this week, we are talking about confidence with abundance and joy. And we are talking all about, I have 2 pages of notes. I don't even know where to begin. But we're talking about bringing more abundance and joy into our lives, and the magic of that. And my guest this week was just such a fascinating, beautiful guest to have, with so much to say, so much to share, and so aligned with the Confidence Through Cabaret community. So I was talking this week with the beautiful Stepanka Kuralova, and I loved the opportunity to really kind of explore a variety of subjects. It really is like 4 podcast episodes in one. We talked about emotional intelligence. We talked a little bit about imposter syndrome. We talked about hypnosis for health. We talked about emotional intelligence, emotional alchemy. We talked about really that inner glow and the art of receiving versus distracting ourselves. So many subjects, and I really have. I'm genuine here now when I say I have 2 pages of notes from the episode, because there were so many things that I wanted to be able to share with you on this segment and also on the podcast promo. Um, but we really talked about what emotional intelligence is, and how Stepanka has taken that several steps further into what she terms as emotional alchemy. So really the whole kind of magic of creating abundance and joy, and a lot of that comes from creating healing, and from really kind of finding that trust in ourselves, and overcoming the fear of disappointment. It's so difficult to summarize this episode. Do go check out the full episode. There's a few things that I wanted to really kind of spend some time talking about. One of them is a discussion that Stepanka and I had about conditioning, and how we're very often conditioned not to lead from our feelings. Be a good girl, stop crying. That went all the way through my childhood, and then also through my adulthood. My late husband used to say, "Don't cry in front of the children, it upsets them." And what the result is that my children lack some of that access to feeling as well. And it's a monkey see, monkey do, kind of thing when you're parenting. It's not what you tell them, it's what you're actually showing to your children, or to the people around you, when you're teaching them how to treat you, and how, if it's in the case of children, how to progress in their own life, and in their own boundaries. And I think, a lot of times that reinforcement of, don't be too emotional, then sets our children up for a difficulty in recognizing and accepting their own emotions, recognizing and accepting that life has a lot of disappointments in it, and really, kind of preparing our children for their own lives. But certainly in our adult life, we need to work through a lot of the things that our parents or our carers, with the best will in the world, were trying to help us to learn. And they're doing their best is the assumption that we have to take, that when they're teaching us, they didn't have all of the tools in the kit, just as I didn't have all of the tools. I didn't have all of the hindsight, understanding that not leading by emotions would make it difficult for my children to navigate their own emotions. And there's a lot of stigmas that certainly goes into the corporate world as well, around, don't be too emotional, and we don't want to be making emotional decisions. And, women are not rational, they're emotional. And I wanted to share, well, I spent quite a lot of time, and I went through about 9 different clips that I wanted to share in here. But this is the clip that I have finally settled on, where we're talking about that leading and making decisions with emotions. Have a look, and then I'll be back with you.
To feel is to be bad, or that it's a weakness. Another thing, often women actually in particular don't want to express their emotions because they don't want to be called emotional weak or unprofessional. And often we are like, oh, I need to make like a rational decision, I can't be making an emotional decision. The truth is, proved by science, every decision we make is an emotional one. It just depends on which emotion it comes from, what state it comes from. Does it come from your heart? Does it come from your ego? There is like different levels to that. But every decision we make is an emotional one. And therefore, I really believe that emotional intelligence is like the fundamental work that should be taught at schools. It affects how you communicate. It affects how confident you feel. If you are emotionally intelligent, you will be confident because you trust yourself that whatever happens, I'll be able to handle it and to cope with it.
Yes. Oh, all of that. And that learning, as we're growing up, is such a beautiful way to grow up. And I think, we spend so much of our life trying to avoid that disappointment. Um, we spend so much of our time trying to feel but not feel. And of course we have to feel. We have to have access to it. And the more that we can know about our emotions, the more that we can connect with them, the more that we can allow our body to feel the feelings and let them go. Very often what happens is we get involved in, I feel a feel, I have a thought, and I feel a feeling, and it occurs in my body. And when we do that, then we go with the story behind that. And instead of just non judgmentally acknowledging the feeling, allowing the feeling, and allowing it to pass, we grab it, we wrap it all up in a story, and we shove it down inside of ourselves. Well, the result is, if we do that enough times, we're so full of those stories and those feelings that we've bottled up, that it creates fairly unhealthy sometimes patterns and behaviors, and causes us to make decisions that are not necessarily in our best interest, or in the best interests of the people around us as well. So I acknowledged in this episode that accepting and asking for help is very difficult for me. It's something that I'm learning, I'm getting much better at. But I not only did I not accept help, when it was offered, if I needed it, I would still say no, I don't need it. And that uh maybe it's fear of disappointment, maybe it's fear of looking weak, maybe it's fear of not seeming competent, or not even believing that we're competent, by allowing others to help us. It feels almost like we're giving away our power. It's not true. And so, we end up self sabotaging because we're trying to control everything, which is an illusion, so that we are maintaining, what seems like strong, capable adult behavior. And of course, we all need help. I never would think that somebody else was weak if they asked for help or accepted help when I offered it, or when others offered it. But when it came to me, it was very much my imposter syndrome screaming, my soloist archetype screaming, "Don't do it! You got this. You got to do this all yourself," and that is so hard. And it's of course not realistic. The other thing that we touched on that I wanted to pick back up on is this numbing behavior. So most of us will be familiar with numbing behavior being things like, alcohol or Netflix or, YouTube or, choose your online platform. But, very often we're numbing by keeping ourselves busy, by, when we're not busy creating dramas that, keep us busy again. So what I used to do was be fully busy. I was very busy in my business life, in my customers' lives, in my traveling, in my delivering excellence. And I stand by that and I believe in that. But I was also, doing the same with my family, my friends, my community, and I was always so busy. I was very heavily involved in the community rugby scene. I was very heavily involved in, spectating in sports. I was very heavily involved in aerial and dance. I was very heavily involved in my children's lives, and I used to just fall into bed exhausted. And that whole piece about taking time to allow feelings non-judgmentally, feel the feelings and let them flow through and out, I didn't make time for. And so, of course, I created this dam of feelings, all kind of packed down, held with a heavy breeze block so that it never leaked out. And I never took the time to get quiet. In fact, I would say if I had of, I would have experienced a lot of fear of getting quiet because I would have had to feel the feelings, and that wasn't something that I was used to doing, and that certainly wasn't something that I was conditioned to do, neither from my own family and upbringing and schooling and so on. And I had a very good family and schooling life, but also from the business world, where women are not supposed to be emotional and not supposed to cry and so on. And the result was I didn't cry for pretty much all of my adult life until fairly recently. And that means that I not only did I not feel that sadness, but I didn't feel that disappointment. It means that I didn't feel that stress. It means that I wasn't able to recognize those things. And if I had have carried on and not allowed it, given my family history, there's a high chance that I would have experienced stroke and or heart attack, because that's when I would have noticed, oh, turns out I'm stressed. Now, my father, who I love very deeply and I'm very close to, was the same. He never was permitted to show emotion. That was not seen as manly. And he would not accept help, and still doesn't to this day, well into his high 80s. And I think, that modeling again was something as that really kind of reinforced it, and I modeled it to my children, and that's reinforced it for them. And the result is that, well, a couple of them have very seriously experienced that stress themselves, and people pleasing, and trying to do the smiling depression, as I call it. Everything's fine, no, it's great, I'm all happy and happy, and it's not because we're lying to other people, it's because we're not able to acknowledge it in ourselves. I did not know I was lying to myself. I did not know that I wasn't feeling those feelings. I just didn't acknowledge it to such a perfected level that I could fake this wonderful, with a full mask, I could fake this wonderful energy of effortlessness. And people used to joke that I wasn't a human because I never ever showed vulnerability. I never felt like I was breaking. I never needed to rest. People used to joke about, I must plug myself in at night. I'm a machine. And I never ran out of energy. And the truth was, I was running on that adrenaline of staying away from feeling. So I'm here to tell you that at some point it catches up to you. And the sooner that we can allow the feelings, then the sooner we can allow that abundance, that joy, that magic of ourselves. And I asked Stepanka what her favorite lesson was. And I just want to make sure that I quote this properly. But the fears and insecurities are portals to more magic of abundance and joy, is what Stepanka shared. And I think that's really beautiful. Our fears and insecurities are portals to more magic of abundance and joy. So embracing, leaning in, allowing, getting quiet, and letting non judgmentally our feelings flow through us and go. And that's how we are able to stay in that moment. And that's how we're able to really, truly experience abundance and joy. I strongly recommend that you go and check out the full episode. There's so much richness in this. Like I said, there's probably about 3 or 4 episodes in addition to this episode. I do a huge amount of work around imposter syndrome with my clients, which I work on one to one. I also do a huge amount around loving our body and feeling good in our body, which is important because you'll already know probably that our mind and our body are so connected. And very often we're working on the mindset, but sometimes we need to shut that off and feel into what our body is experiencing. And that feeds our mind. And so it completes the cycle. And if these are things that speak to you, get in touch. I have regular free masterminds or masterclasses. We also have confidencethroughcabaret.com. We put up monthly masterclasses every month, masterclasses or workshops where you have a workbook and you can work through it at your own pace, with a pre-recorded video or masterclass. You can work through the workshops and, feel good in your body. And those go up, and new things are going up all the time on the member suite on confidencethroughcabaret.com. I also do free masterclasses quite often. If you get in touch with me, if you message Confidence Through Cabaret, or even if you want to message me personally as Heather Jean, I'm most often on Facebook. So Messenger is probably the easiest way to get hold. And we also have a very supportive and loving and uplifting community on Facebook, which is Confidence Through Cabaret as well. We are Confidence Through Cabaret on all of the socials except for Twitter, which is at YBYWYS. I am at Heather YBYWYS on Clubhouse, and we're Confidence and Attitudes Club on Clubhouse. So check us out anywhere and you'll be able to get more materials. There's so many playlists here on Confidence Through Cabaret YouTube channel. Check out the content there. Lots of guests inspiring and sharing and giving tips and really, kind of giving us a range of ways to lift our confidence in our personal life, our work life, and our stage life. Whatever your stage is, this is my stage right now at this moment. And I believe that the analogy of cabaret, of owning our space, stepping into our spotlight, sharing our message unapologetically, and raising our voice is such an important part of that abundance and joy. So do get in touch if you want to have a call, jump on and talk about things. Then I'm always up for that. I'm always up for a coffee and a chat anytime. So please do get in touch. Those 6 beautiful letters that we use for our Twitter handle at YBYWYS stand for "It is your body, and it is your world, and it is your stage. Take up space and own it unapologetically." I will see you next time. Bye for now.